What began as organic, decentralized protests against the 2024 Finance Bill quickly evolved into a powerful national movement, largely led by young, digitally savvy Kenyans, many of whom had no formal political affiliations. The government, seemingly unaware of what lay ahead, downplayed the concerns of the protesters to the extent of some officials even dismissing the youth as KFC eating and Uber riding privileged individuals.
Wameshika simu ya iPhone, wanajiita Gen Z, wanafika kwa maandamano na Uber, wanatoka maandamano wanaingia KFC kukula kuku na minofu. Ama hamkuwaona?
The Finance Bill 2024, which proposed a raft of new taxes on essential goods and services, was passed by Parliament despite widespread public opposition and ongoing protests.
As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
This defiance further fueled public anger, leading to a dramatic escalation where protesters stormed parliament buildings, a truly unprecedented event in Kenyan history. President Ruto made a remarkable U-turn. He declined to assent to the Finance Bill 2024, effectively rejecting it in its entirety, a clear indication that the head of state had bowed to the demands of the Gen Z protesters and the pressure they had exerted.
I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill.
Despite the rejection, many protesters remained skeptical, viewing it as a reactionary damage control rather than a genuine change in approach. In the wake of the protests, Ruto's administration realized the power of online platforms like X, TikTok and Instagram in mobilizing the youth.
Agwambo, this is a message to you. Usitoke, don't come. Agwambo, please stay at home. We saw your efforts, okay? We saw everything that you did for Kenya. Now let us. We miss you, but Agwambo, please don't even come outside. Don't come outside. Tunatoka on your behalf, okay?
As traditional avenues of public engagement failed, President Ruto and senior officials turned to social media platforms like X to directly engage with Gen Zs in an attempt to create open dialogue. However, the online spaces were often marked by blunt, emotional exchanges that laid bare the disconnect between youth and state.
To remain on board, remain on board because politicians see Mungu.
When asked, the youth stated that the platform failed to address the deeper grievances of corruption, unemployment and political exclusion that the protests had expanded to include beyond the finance bill. Things were far from over. The protesters kept injecting with a significant demand for accountability over alleged corruption, inefficiency and insensitivity within government. In response, President Ruto dismissed his entire cabinet, save for his then Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and current Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi.
Decided to dismiss with immediate effect all the Cabinet Secretaries and Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, of the Cabinet of Kenya.
Many of the CSs sent packing were perceived to be out of touch with ordinary Kenyans or had previously made controversial remarks regarding the protests. Their dismissal was an attempt to regain public trust and appease the protesters while signaling a willingness to address issues of governance. Some of the notable names caught up in the unexpected firing on July 11, 2024 included Professor Njuguna Ndongo of the National Treasury and Planning, Aisha Jumwa of Gender, Culture and Heritage, Moses Kuria of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management, Penina Malonza of the East African Community and Asals Region, Mithika Linturi of Agriculture, Livestock and Development, Ezekiel Mashogu of Education, Ababu Namwamba of Youth Affairs and Sports, and Susan Nakumicha Wafula of Health. Following the widespread protests and the cabinet purge, political divisions emerged, with the opposition capitalizing on the protests to mount pressure on President Ruto to resign on grounds of poor governance and police brutality during the protests. To salvage the situation threatening his political legacy, President Ruto announced plans to engage in extensive consultations across different sectors and political formations to set up a broad-based government.
A hand of applause.
The announcement, seen by some as a path towards unity and others viewing it as a tactic to neutralize dissent, culminated in the signing of a 10-point memorandum of understanding between opposition leader Raila Odinga and President William Ruto.
Vile baba amesema, hayawi.
The broad-based government saw key government critics like John Mbadi, Opiyo Wandayi, Hassan Joho and Wycliffe Oparanya awarded with cabinet secretaries positions in the very same government they had been sharply castigating. Ahead of Wednesday's one-year Gen Z protest anniversary, the 2024 protests shook the foundations of Kenyan governance. For the first time in history, an unarmed, leaderless, digitally organized mass mobilization forced a sitting president to rethink policy, fire officials, and seek new partnerships. Theo Masharia for K24 TV.